Units of the Syrian Arab Army confront ISIL terrorists who try to infiltrate into Al-Nashwa western neighborhood in Al-Hasakah. ISIL terrorists break into Ain al-Arab once again, and the People's Defense Units wage battles with them. The Iraqi army foils a terrorist attack by ISIL on Al-Anbar district, killing dozens of ISIL terrorists. Good afternoon. In cooperation with People's Defense Groups and internal security forces, a Syrian Arab Army unit is waging severe battles against ISIL terrorists who infiltrated last night into Al-Nashwa al-Gharbiyya neighborhood in Al-Hasakah. The terrorists had used the inhabitants as human shields and took control of people's homes after forcing many families out. ISIL terrorists today committed a massacre against the peoples of Barakh Boutan village south of Ain al-Arab in Aleppo's northeastern countryside. They shot dead 22 citizens of the village, mostly women and children. The inhabitants intercepted the terrorists and killed 5 of them before withdrawing from the village after the arrival of reinforcements from the People's Defense Units. ISIL has also carried out another suicide attack following the suicide explosion it perpetrated earlier at the border cross point with Turkey, which killed at least 5 people. Local sources are talking of ongoing violent clashes in Ain al-Arab, which have erupted between the People's Defense Troops and the terrorists who had infiltrated into the city once more. It is to be noted that ISIL terrorists were driven out of the city by the People's Defense Forces last January, following 5 months of confrontations and fierce battles, which left hundreds of the terrorist organization's members killed and scores of their vehicles destroyed. Units of the Syrian Arab Army destroyed terrorist hideouts affiliated with ISIL and Al-Nusra terrorist organizations in Aleppo countryside. In Aleppo eastern countryside, army units eliminated a number of ISIL terrorists and destroyed their vehicles and ammunition on the highway leading to Al-Raqqa. In the city of Aleppo, army units destroyed Al-Nusra terrorist dens, killing and wounding dozens of them. 33 gunmen have been killed by a Syrian Arab Army unit when it attacked a terrorist hideout in Al-Nu'ayma village on the road leading to Al-Ya'duda village in Darha countryside. The Syrian Air Force also eliminated scores of ISIL terrorists and destroyed their vehicles in Al-Thawra oil field in Al-Raqqa. 6 people have been killed and 13 others injured in mortar shells and gas bottles fired by terrorists at the residential quarters in the city of Darha. A source in the governorate said the terrorist attacks resulted material damage on citizens' houses, shops, and a number of cars. Director General of Darha Electricity Company said the attacks hit voltage line 66, connecting Kharbet Ghazala with the city of Darha. In this context, Governor of Darha, Muhammad Khalid Al-Hannous, said the city is secure and the situation is under control. He pointed out that the terrorist organizations which attacked the city this morning with various kinds of weapons have failed to enter it or be anywhere near it, as they were repelled, he added, by the Syrian Arab Army units, the internal security forces, and the city's honest citizens. Israeli occupation troops continue their arbitrary campaign of detentions against the inhabitants of Majd al-Shemesh in the occupied Golan, arresting 3 more young men last night. They had held several people last Tuesday after storming houses and vandalizing their contents. In retaliation for the heroic operation carried out a few days ago by Golan young men against Nusra wounded terrorists who were passing through the village in order to be treated in the Zionist entity's hospitals. Deputy Prime Minister Foreign and Expatriates Minister Walid Al-Muallim today reviewed with the South African delegation currently visiting Syria, headed by the Middle East Peace Process Special Presidential Envoy Dr. Zola Skobia, the developments in the country and the region and the terrorist threats supported by certain countries. Minister Muallim talked in detail about the ferocious assault which aims at jeopardizing stability and spreading chaos through promoting Takfiri thoughts, whether in the region, Africa or other countries of the world, in service of Israel and the USA. He underlined the importance of South Africa being prominent African state in making clear what is happening in Syria and supporting the Syrian people's steadfast stand in combating Takfiri terrorism. He affirmed the need to make good preparation for Geneva III through the consultation and meeting to be held among the various parties in Moscow. On their part, the members of the guest delegation affirmed the importance of pushing forward bilateral relations and activating the agreements between the two countries. The chief delegate referred to the policy of double standards resorted to be the West towards Syria and the Palestinian cause, particularly in covering up Israel's violations against the Palestinian people and the terrorist crimes against Syria. The Iraqi troops foiled a terrorist plan to attack the area of Nazim al-Taqsim in Al-Anbar, killing 33 ISIL terrorists. Iraqi sources reported that 13 airstrikes targeted ISIL positions in several areas in Al-Anbar. The Iraqi army confiscated weapons and destroyed 3 hideouts north of the capital, Baghdad. The Iraqi troops dismantled 3 media centers affiliated with ISIL in Diyala province. Saudi authorities acknowledged the killing of 3 of its soldiers during clashes with the Yemeni army. 2 Saudi soldiers were killed in Jizan and the 3rd was killed in Asir area. Meanwhile, the Saudi airstrikes on Yemeni cities continued, leaving dozens of civilians dead or wounded. The Yemeni army shelled with rockets the military positions of the Saudi troops in Al-Dud and Khawiya along Al borders with Yemen. In another development, 1 Yemeni soldier was killed and 2 others wounded following the explosion of a device in front of Saba news agency in the capital, Sana'a. Israeli occupation troops arrested 6 Palestinians during incursions into several areas of the West Bank. News reports said that an Israeli military force broke into Kharabta Bani Haris village in Ramallah and arrested 3 Palestinians. The Israeli soldiers also broke into a Palestinian house east of Hebron and arrested 1 Palestinian. With this, we conclude our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our Facebook page, Syria TV channels. You may also watch the Syrian satellite channel live on YouTube. Now to latest business and market news with Syria, but after a short break.
Good afternoon. People's Assembly headed by Muhammad Jihad Laham has approved draft law today that includes the Domestic Trade and Consumer Protection Law. The law aims at tightening the penalties and fines imposed on offenders who are manipulating prices and monopolizing the basic needs in order to control the markets. Furthermore, the law forced the owners of the commercial, industrial and services activities to declare the prices and commit to the principle of supply and demand and the legal competition. However, according to the law, the offenders will be punished by imprisonment for 6 months at least and a fine of 250,000 Syrian pounds, or one of these punishments for those who manipulate food, fodder and agricultural products. The Central Bank of Syria has set the exchange rate of the US dollar against the Syrian pound at 276.35 for the banks and 276.37 for the exchange companies. The Central Bank has also set the exchange rate of the US dollar against the Syrian pound for transfers at 275. On the other hand, the euro exchange rate against the Syrian pound was set at 309.38 for the banks and 309.4 for the exchange companies. Oil prices declined today after data showed that the U.S. crude oil supplies shrank last week, while inventories of refined products rose. Syrian stocks extended a sell-off as another round of Greek bailout talks yielded no results before an impending payment deadline. Japan's Nikkei share average edged lower today, but underlying sentiment remained bullish a day after the benchmark hit its highest level since last 1996. Gold edged up today after sliding for the past 4 sessions to a 2-week low, with investors awaiting news on Greece talks with its international lenders to avert a default for further trading signals. The dollar dropped versus the yen today, awaiting U.S. data for fresh signals after giving back gains following an impasse in Greek debt negotiations. The euro, on the other hand, was trading financial shares after showing a more limited response. With this, we conclude our economic news for today. Thank you for watching and goodbye.